Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to work with file and FileInfo classes. These classes are very similar, and they both provide methods to work with files. The only difference is file provides static methods, whereas FileInfo provides instance methods. So let's take a look at file. Look, here are the static methods of the file class. You can copy a file, create a file, decrypt an encrypted file, delete it, encrypt it, check if it exists, and see there are lots of methods here. It's really impossible for me to go through all of these methods. I'm just going to show you a few of them in this lecture, so you will have an idea of how to use them. Then you can go and use the other methods depending on your needs. So let's take a look at copy. This method takes two parameters. They both are a string. The first one is the source file name. So let's say we would like to copy a file that is located in the C drive in the folder temp, and it's called myfile.jpg. And the second parameter is the destination file name. Read the tooltip. It says this cannot be a directory or an existing file. So let's say we would like to copy these to D drive in the same folder and call it myfile.jpg. This method has two overloads. The second overload takes a parameter of type boolean, which you can use to indicate that if the file exists there, you can overwrite it. Now, first thing I want to do here to clean up this code is get rid of all these double backslashes. So that's where we can use a verbatim string. We simply put an @ sign here and get rid of all these noisy backslashes. That's it. Let's take a look at the delete method. Again, this method takes a path. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to declare a variable here called path so we can reuse it in different methods. Just like that. We can check if a file exists on the disk. So if file.exists, this method again takes a path and returns a boolean. Then we can do something about it. And finally, if you want to read all the text in a file, we can use file.readAllText. This method returns a string. Or if you want to read a file as binary, we can call readAllBytes, which returns a byte array. So let's try this one. Again, this method takes a path and returns a string. So we call it content. Now let's take a look at the equivalent methods in the FileInfo class. So with the FileInfo, first we need to create an object. And of course, we need to specify a path here. And then if you want to copy this file, we can call copy_to method. And this method takes a parameter of type string called destination file name. Again, we can supply whatever here. And note that this method also has an overload, which takes a second parameter called bool overwrite, similar to the other method. I'm going to leave it for now. Or if you want to delete it, FileInfo.delete. Takes no parameters. To check if the file exists, FileInfo.exists, which in this case is not a method, it's a property. So if FileInfo.exists, then we can do something about it. And finally, note that FileInfo does not have a readAllText method. It's only available as a static method in the file class. With the FileInfo, you need to call openRead, which returns a file stream. File stream is a different way of reading a file, and personally I'm not a fan of that because it's just a little bit complex. Later in this section, I will show you a very simple way to read the file if you don't want to use file.readAllText. But the bottom line here is, note that both these classes are very similar in terms of usage. The only difference is file provides static methods, whereas FileInfo provides instance methods. So if you want to execute a small number of operations against a specific file, it's more convenient to use these static methods. So you don't have to create a new FileInfo object. But with these static methods, every time you call them, the operating system does some security checking. And that can affect the performance of your application if you have a large number of operations. In that case, it's more efficient to create a FileInfo object and call the instance methods on that object. That's it for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.